Don't blink, don't scroll, don't even sip that drink in your hand, because what I'm about to drop on you in the next 12 minutes is going to make every single person on the internet rewatch this clip 3 times tonight. Claressa Shields just got caught. Not whispered about, not rumored about, not allegedly caught in a vague little blog post buried at the bottom of somebody's timeline. Caught. Out in the open, in broad daylight, with her own outfit telling on her, with her own flight pattern telling on her, with her own desperate, sweaty, panicked little weekend schedule telling on her louder than any blogger ever could. And the funniest part, the part that is going to keep you up tonight thinking about it, is that Remy Ma did not even have to open her mouth, did not have to subtweet, did not have to hop on a live, did not have to fire off a single bar. The receipts walked themselves straight into the courtroom, raised their right hand, and swore in under oath. Buckle in, lock the door, tell your nosy roommate to be quiet, pause the dinner, mute the dog, because tonight we are pulling the curtain all the way back on the messiest, sloppiest, most embarrassing Mother's Day weekend ambush hip-hop and boxing have witnessed in a full decade. Hey, welcome back, family. If you're new around here, you just stumbled into the only corner of the internet where we don't sugarcoat, we don't dance around it, we don't pretend we didn't see it, and we sure don't whisper when the entire world deserves to hear it spoken at full volume. Smash that subscribe button right now. Yes, right now, before you forget, before the algorithm spits you back out into some sleepy little corner of YouTube where they're still arguing about old news from last year, because tonight's story has layers. Layers like an onion, layers like a wedding cake, layers like one of those impossible Russian dolls that keeps getting smaller and smaller until you're holding a dot. Layers that are going to make you stand up off your couch, walk to the mirror, and yell at yourself just to process what your own eyes are seeing. Everything I'm about to say is alleged, my personal opinion for entertainment and conversation only, no defamation intended toward any party named or unnamed. Grab your snacks, lock the door, throw your phone on Do Not Disturb, tell the group chat you'll catch up later, and let's get into the receipts, because Claressa Shields handed them to us herself, wrapped in a bow, with a return address, with a thank you card attached. Picture the scene, family. Picture it in 4K, surround sound, the whole production. This past weekend was supposed to be the kind of weekend a champion dreams about for 2 decades. Not one event, not 2 events, multiple professional obligations stacked back to back to back like dominoes lined up, just waiting to fall in her favor. A major promotional fight event in Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday night. The kind of event Claressa Shields had been hyping all week long on every podcast that would book her, on every Tiger Show segment, on every Instagram story, every X post, every TikTok reel, every microphone shoved in her face. The kind of event where you fly in, you shake the right hands, you smile for the right cameras, you give the right quotes to the right reporters, and you remind the entire boxing world why you are worth every single penny of every single paycheck on every single line of every single contract. Then on Sunday, yet another commitment. Mooney's Hibachi Grill in Flint, Michigan. Her hometown, her people, her city, the fans who watched her grow up, scrappy and hungry, the fans who watched her chase that Olympic dream when nobody else believed in her, the fans who paid real money out of their actual pockets for actual paper tickets to see her in the actual flesh. So what did the woman who calls herself the greatest woman of all time do? Nothing. Absolutely stone cold nothing. Did not show up in Atlanta, did not show up in Flint, did not show up anywhere she was contractually expected to show up. Period. End of sentence. No phone call to the promoter, no tweet to the fans. No apology to the city, no little Instagram story explaining herself, no surrogate sent in her place, no video message from the road. Just silence. Cold, expensive, embarrassing silence. Like a ghost, like a phantom, like she had never even existed in the first place. 2 professional commitments, 2 paychecks left on the table, 2 crowds of paying fans standing around confused, and she ghosted all of them like a bad date at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. Meanwhile, her promoter, Dimitri Salita, the man who actually does the unglamorous behind-the-scenes work that quietly builds entire careers brick by brick, was in Atlanta Saturday night doing her job, promoting her fighter, holding down her brand, smiling for her cameras, answering her questions from reporters. The next night, he flew straight to New York to stand beside her at the Museum of Natural History. Yes, the museum. Yes, you heard me right the first time, where her championship belt has been placed on permanent display, sitting elbow to elbow next to the Stanley Cup, next to NFL championship rings, next to PGA trophies, next to the kind of hardware most athletes only see in their dreams. A career-defining, legacy-cementing, generation-stamping, write it in the history books moment. And where was the woman of the hour the night before that historic honor? Not in a hotel room mentally preparing, not in a quiet restaurant with her promoter eating something light, not rehearsing a speech in front of the bathroom mirror, not calling her mama back home crying happy tears. She was in New York. Days early, days too early, days that don't add up, days that raise eyebrows. And we are about to tell you exactly why that little detail is the smoking gun in this entire story. Now, here is where the plot does not just thicken, it curdles, it turns, it separates, it develops that funky little film on top that lets you know something has gone wrong in the pot. Because Claressa Shields was not supposed to be in New York City until Monday or Tuesday at the absolute earliest. The museum honor was scheduled for midweek. Her flight could have come in Sunday night easy. So, riddle me this, riddle me that. Why was she, a Michigan native, a boxer with 2 missed bookings burning behind her like a trail of smoke, spotted in New York on Saturday night at a surprise pop-up reggae concert featuring the legendary Stephanie Mills? A reggae concert. Read that line again, slowly. A reggae concert. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to think about it honestly with your whole chest. Has Claressa Shields in any interview, any podcast, any tweet, any Instagram caption, any live stream, any moment in her entire public-facing life ever expressed the slightest, faintest whispering interest in reggae music? Has she ever mentioned Stephanie Mills by name? Has she ever shouted out Caribbean culture? Has she ever posted a single Bob Marley lyric on a Sunday morning? Has she ever shown up to a concert remotely like this one? The answer is no. Crickets. Zero. A whole lot of nope. So, why was she there? Why fly into New York days early, blow off 2 paid bookings in 2 different states, and somehow magically end up at a surprise pop-up reggae concert she has absolutely zero documented interest in attending? I will tell you why, and I'm only going to say it one time, so I need you to lean close to the screen. Because Remy Ma's husband, yes, the same Papoose who calls his marriage golden love, the same Papoose who has been performing the role of the devoted husband on social media for 2 whole years straight, the same Papoose who used to write whole verses about how solid his home is, was allegedly there with his family, his mother, his sisters, his niece, his people, in a private box suite, celebrating Mother's Day weekend together as a family unit, a family event, a sacred event, the kind of event a grown black man plans for the women who raised him, fed him, prayed for him, sat in the back of every courtroom for him, and turned him into the man he calls himself today. And Claressa Shields, uninvited, unannounced, completely uninterested in reggae, completely unrelated to anybody in that box, completely outside the bloodline, completely outside the marriage, completely outside the invite list, showed up anyway. Why? Because the anniversary of Remy and Papoose's wedding is right around the corner, knocking on the calendar like a debt collector at the door. And she knew it. And she panicked. She could not, would not, risk Papoose feeling 1 single ounce of nostalgia for the woman who actually wears his last name in public. She could not risk him being photographed next to his actual legally wedded wife while a Stephanie Mills classic played behind them. She could not risk that wedding anniversary energy hitting his bloodstream uninterrupted by her presence. So she did what insecure people always do when their grip is slipping off the edge of the cliff. She crashed it. She forced her way into a moment that was never written with her name on the guest list. And she did it knowing every camera in that venue might catch her doing it on camera. Think about how unhinged that is for one full second. You are a world champion. You have an Olympic gold medal sitting on a shelf somewhere. You have a belt about to be displayed in an historic American museum. And the move you decide to make on your biggest career week of the year is to crash a reggae concert filled with somebody else's relatives? Make it make sense. Pull out a calculator. Pull out a whiteboard. Pull out a TED Talk. You cannot. You will not, because it does not. It never will. This was not a coincidence. This was not a vibe. This was not a small world after all moment. This was an ambush, planned with the precision of a chess grandmaster setting up a checkmate, and executed with the desperation of a woman watching her sandcastle wash out with the tide and trying to scoop the wet sand back into a tower with her bare hands. Now, here is the part where Claressa Shields, bless her champion heart, told on herself harder than any blogger, any podcaster, any Instagram gossip account, any nosy neighbor ever could have. Because when you ambush a man's family event in another city across multiple state lines, you do not have time to pack properly. You do not plan 3 outfits. You do not lay things out neatly on the bed the night before. You do not coordinate accessories. You do not stream your dresses. You grab whatever is folded, whatever is clean, whatever is closest to the open suitcase, and you run for the door like the building is on fire. Look at the first picture floating around the internet right now. Saturday night, New York City, black dress, hugging her frame just right in all the spots she wanted hugged, red glasses perched on her face like she's auditioning for a remake of an old Spike Lee joint set in the summertime, red handbag clutched tight in her hand, red kitten heels strapped onto her feet. Cute outfit, honestly. I'll give credit where credit is due, even when I am reading somebody for filth from head to toe. The styling was cohesive, the color story was sharp, the accessories matched the mood. I am not even hating on the actual look itself, because the look itself worked on its own merits the first time it walked out the door. But the look was supposed to walk out the door exactly one time. Just once. That was the unspoken contract that outfit signed when she pulled it off the hanger. Now scroll real slow to the second picture. Monday night, 2 whole nights later, the Museum of Natural History, the biggest career honor of her entire life, her belt being displayed next to the Stanley Cup, the cameras flashing, the press standing by, her promoter beaming, the legacy moment getting cemented forever in the history books. Same black dress. The exact same dress, stitch for stitch, seam for seam, tag still attached probably, wrinkles in the same spots from sitting in the same suitcase for 48 straight hours. The only thing she swapped out was the kitten heels for thigh-high boots. That was it. That was the entire wardrobe pivot. A pair of boots and a prayer and a hope nobody would notice. Thrown on like a Hail Mary in the 4th quarter of a game she was already losing. Do you understand what this means? Do you really, truly, deeply in your soul understand the weight of this? Claressa Shields, a world champion, an Olympic gold medalist, a woman whose belt is now sitting next to the Stanley Cup in a historic American museum, showed up to the single most important career moment of her professional life wearing a recycled outfit from 48 hours earlier. Why? Because she rushed to New York days too early to babysit somebody else's husband, and her suitcase paid the price for her bad decisions. And it shows. Look at her face in the museum photos. Look closely. Zooming if you have to. She looks tired. She looks stressed. She looks unrested. She looks like a woman who has been running on cold coffee, cheap hotel pillows, and worse decisions for 72 hours straight. At her own honor. At her own moment. At her own ceremony. Make it make sense. Go ahead. I will wait right here. Make it make sense. Now let us redirect the spotlight, swing it all the way around, because there is a co-villain in this story, and his name is Papoose. Don't let anybody twist this narrative. Don't let anybody frame this as one woman behaving badly while a poor, innocent husband stands there blameless, hands in his pockets, whistling at the ceiling. That is not what is happening here. Not even close. Dmitry Salita, her promoter, the man with absolutely no romantic stake in any of this, the man who is paid to show up, posted a beautiful, heartfelt, professional tribute when the museum honor happened. He called her a once-in-a-generation athlete. He called her a global inspiration. He celebrated her publicly with the kind of language a champion of her caliber deserves to hear from their team. He did the bare minimum a teammate is supposed to do, and he did it with class. And Papoose, the man who supposedly loves her in the shadows, the man who allegedly whispers sweet nothings into her phone at midnight, the man who calls his marriage golden love and his wife fireproof on every podcast you can find a microphone at. Nothing. Not a single post, not a single story, not a quiet little tag in a comment section, not a single emoji on a public photo, not even a like that anybody on the entire internet can publicly verify. Silence so loud it is screaming through the walls. Now flip that page over. When Remy Ma had a street named after her in the Bronx, a literal, physical, permanent, government-sanctioned honor carved into the city forever, Remy Ma was there. Front row, baby, filming every single second of it with Fat Joe standing next to him, hyping his wife up with the kind of unfiltered joy you cannot fake on camera, smiling like a man who knew exactly which side of the line he was standing on and intended to stay there. But when Claressa hits her biggest career moment of the decade, crickets. Not even a courtesy clap, not even a low-effort repost, not even a screenshot. Nothing. Cold, dead air. This is the man Claressa is allegedly dismantling her career for. This is the man she is allegedly skipping bookings for. This is the man she is allegedly stalking through reggae concerts for. And he cannot be bothered to post one single Instagram story for her historic moment? Sir, with all due respect, sir. Papoose, you are not the innocent bystander in this story. You are not the victim. You are not the man caught in the middle of two women fighting over you. You are a married man entertaining chaos in broad daylight, allowing the disrespect to compound week after week, never publicly correcting the narrative, never protecting your wife's name in the streets, never shutting down the speculation, never drawing a clear public line in the sand. You are part of the problem. A big part, maybe the biggest part of this entire mess. And every day you stay silent on it, the louder your silence becomes in the ears of everybody watching. And then, through all the smoke and the dust and the chaos and the wrinkled repeat dress and the empty Instagram posts, there she is, Remy Ma, the actual, undisputed, undeniable queen of this entire story. While Claressa was running through Manhattan in a recycled outfit, ambushing family events that did not include her, blowing off paying fans who already bought tickets, and chasing nostalgia she was never invited to share in, Remy Ma was home, composed, quiet, dignified, sipping her tea, folding her laundry, probably braiding her daughter's hair. A mother, a wife, a legend. A woman who has nothing left to prove to anybody who has been paying attention for the last 20 years of her career. Remy Ma has not said one single word about any of this publicly. Not one. She does not have to, because the truth is doing all of the talking on her behalf without her ever opening her mouth. The receipts are doing the press tour. The same dress is sitting down for the interview. The empty Instagram page is publishing the open letter. The unposted museum tribute is writing the headline. Remy did not skip her obligations. Remy did not chase anyone. Remy did not repeat outfits because she was too busy tracking somebody else's husband across state lines on the holiday weekend. Remy built a career, built a family, built a name, built a legacy, and built a literal street with her actual government name carved into it. And she is still building, still climbing, still moving, still winning, still showing up, while the other woman is over here bending for crumbs and getting silence in return like Christmas morning at the Grinch's house up on Mount Crumpet. That is the difference between a wife and a whoever she is. That is the difference between a legacy and a distraction. That is the difference between a queen and a circus. That is the difference between the woman who gets a street named after her and the woman who gets a Twitter thread named after her. That is the difference between solid ground and quicksand. Remy Ma, if you ever see this, and we know you will see this, you do not owe a single soul on this planet a single word of explanation. The receipts are speaking. The dress is speaking. The empty post grid is speaking. The reggae concert is speaking. You already won this entire situation before half of us even knew it had started. Let me tell you what this entire situation actually is beneath all the receipts and the photos and the press releases and the hashtag drama and the comment sections. This is not love. This is not golden love. This is not even a regular old situationship gone sideways at the wrong intersection. This is something far sadder and far smaller than any of that. This is desperation wearing thigh-high boots and pretending they are armor. This is insecurity disguised in red kitten heels and red glasses. This is a woman so terrified of being forgotten, so allergic to being irrelevant, so afraid of fading into the boxing background that she is willing to embarrass herself on a global stage just to keep tabs on a man who will not even repost her championship belt sitting next to the Stanley Cup. And Papoose, let me say it again so that people in the cheap seats can hear me clearly. You are not slick either. You do not get to play the devoted family man card while letting another woman ambush your own mother's Mother's Day weekend. You do not get to call something golden love in interviews and then go pin drop silent on her biggest career moment of the year. You are using this woman for attention. She is using your marriage for relevance. And Remy Ma, God bless her, is the only grown adult in the entire situation, and she did not even have to lace up her boots to win the round. Two villains, one queen, one ambushed Mother's Day weekend, one recycled black dress, one museum honor wasted on a wrinkled outfit, one reggae concert nobody invited her to, one street already named after the wife. That is the real story. That is the whole story. That is the only story worth telling, top to bottom, front to back, beginning to end, with the volume turned all the way up so the back row can hear it loud and clear. So, let us recap slowly one more time for the back of the class who came in late. Claressa Shields skipped 2 professional obligations in 2 different cities on the same weekend. Flew to New York days early, days, plural, not hours, for a midweek museum honor that did not require her presence that soon. Showed up uninvited to a family reggae concert featuring an artist she has 0 documented history of caring about for 1 second of her public life. Wore the exact same black dress to 2 completely different events 48 hours apart because her suitcase did not get the memo about packing for the entire trip. And Papoose could not be bothered to post a single solitary thing about her biggest career moment in years, but filmed every blessed second of his wife getting a street named after her, with Fat Joe standing right there next to him, cheering along. The math is mathin', baby, and it is not mathing in Claressa's favor. It is not mathing in Papoose's favor either. The only person the math is mathing for tonight is the woman sitting at home, not saying a single word out loud. If you are tired, and I mean genuinely soul-deep, bone-marrow tired, of grown women chasing married men across state lines on holiday weekends, drop a crown emoji in the comments right now for Remy Ma. If you think Papoose is just as guilty as Claressa in this whole sloppy mess, drop a red flag emoji underneath that. And if you want part 2 of this story, because trust me, baby, there are more receipts loading, more sources whispering, more screenshots brewing, and more flight records being pulled, smash that like button until it turns blue and falls off the screen, subscribe with your whole entire chest, and turn those notifications on like your peace of mind depends on it. Because this story is not over. This story is just beginning to crack open down the middle. I will see you in the very next one. Stay messy, stay smart, stay paying attention, stay loyal to the people who would never ambush somebody's mama on Mother's Day weekend for clout, and always, always remember, the truth always, always comes out in the wash, or in this case, in the same black dress twice on 2 different nights in 2 different boroughs of New York City, with the entire internet watching every second of it in 4K resolution with the subtitles turned on. Good night, family. Lock your doors, kiss your husbands twice tonight just for good measure, hug your mama, tip your delivery driver, and check your suitcases before the next trip, because Claressa, she is still out there, and her suitcase is still half empty, and the truth is still way, way louder tonight than her silence ever was back now.